So I have a question about some manifestations that I did have, and I was aware of these on the back end after the fact that actually happened. So I had an experience of a channeling
So that's a nice thing that you're aware of it on the back end. We like those words too. We want you to associate the back end with the front end, because when you acknowledge how you set it up, when you acknowledge that it was the soft alignment on the front end that then allowed the connection on the back end, now you've got it. But without those two connections, you aren't deliberate. You're just responding to a happy circumstance, and that's not deliberate creation. That's knee-jerk.
Yes, yes, yes. So I had this situation where a client of mine posted something very private on her Facebook page, and I was landing in Las Vegas at the time, and I was very happy I will be there because it was actually a time of transition, a birthday of her son who transitioned a long time ago. And since I feel connection with her, I felt happy to be there, not to comfort her, just to be there with her.
Well, we're glad that you clarified that, because we felt comfort on the stick.
Yes, it was not.
Happy to be there because you're saying no, and we're saying yes. Happy to be there because, in other words, you wouldn't even needed to have brought that up if it really wasn't part of the vibrational equation. This is the clarification that we're offering. In other words, happiness is one thing. Happiness to overcome sadness is a muted happiness. Can you feel the distinction?
Yes.
It's subtle. This is mastery of this. Yes?
So I see the picture, and all I'm thinking is I'm so happy that I'm here today.
Why?
There was no reason why.
Yes, there was. Why? To give her support.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about.
Gotcha. Got it. So interesting thing happened.
I'm happy to be here so that I can help her out during this time of maybe a little exaggerated or emphasized awareness. Yeah. Yeah. But you see, your inner being would never have such a thought, because there's resistance in that thought. It's all right that you have that thought, but you're asking for mastery about this.
Yes, yes, yes.
So when you catch yourself in that thought, what do? How might you clarify that? In other words, sort of like Esther discovering that her tree's been knocked down. How do you take the bounce from that? What might you do to clarify in that moment on the front end? On the front end, what might you do?
Alignment, I just focused on how much I enjoy spending time with her.
Yeah.
The reason of being with her, loving teaching her how to dance, loving just being with her and spending time with her.
Yeah.
That was the follow-up thought.
Yeah.
So
then what happened?
So the day after, I give her a regular hug, so to speak. You know, I communicate like that
because?
Just because I love people. I in general love hugging people.
Yeah.
And
do they need your hug?
No.
Is it a sort of mutual thing?
Yes, always mutual thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and the moment that this hug was a little bit longer.
Yeah. Yeah, because you had extra intention here of soothing.
Yes.
And comforting.
And then after the interaction, what ended up happening, I had a thought of bringing it up to her a couple of hours later to mention to her that I was aware what day was in question.
Oh, yeah.
And she said that it's very interesting you're bringing that up because I didn't want to hug you for too long because I didn't want it to feel weird, but I almost felt like I was hugging my son. So that was a very interesting experience. That thought did cross my mind, but then only after she brought it up, it became a reality at that moment.
There is this thing that humans do. Esther brought Jerry back to life in so many dreams. Mm-hmm. She put him back in his body and then praised him for being back in his body. In her dream, she'd say, "You look so good. You look better than I ever remember you looking, as a matter of fact. You look really, really good." But she had to overcome that desire to make the non-physical a physical experience before she could really have the relationship with him as he now is. In other words, that desire to manifest in a physical way the non-physical energy still is resistant in nature. There's a bit of unwillingness to accept where they really are and a desire to bring them forth, you see.
I understand.
We know
on
you
her
do.
end, yes.
Yours as well.
Very good. Yes, on mine as well, yeah. Yes. So even the fact that
nothing wrong with any of that, but feel the clarification that we're making here. In other words, there's still yearning in that is resistant in nature. And that yearning prevents the true connection with who he really is and where he really is and how he really is now. It's a yearning to bring him back into the physical, where I can utilize my physical senses for the experience. And what that indicates is that there's not yet quite, for most physical humans, Esther too, from time to time, to really feel the non-physical nature of your being, you see. Everything that we're talking about is to help you reemerge into this non-physical energy, for you to raise your vibration so that you are fully in connection. And what you keep wanting is for non-physical to come down where you are and give you a hug. And what non-physical wants is for you to just let your vibration rise with no dependency on someone else, just reveling mutually in the awesomeness of life.
Yes, like when I was on a boat in Barcelona a couple of weeks ago when I got here, and in this beautiful tourist boat we're laying down, and little breeze, and seeing Barcelona from the boat, and then this guy pulls up the clarinet and he starts playing it, and I think of my late grandfather and stories of them saying, my mom saying that he used to play both clarinet and saxophone, and me feeling like, I really would like to know how this guy sounded on his instrument. And the player pulling up the saxophone to play right after. And I said, well, I am getting this moment. It was so easy.
So you're bringing up some things, and there are wonderful things, and we really want to clarify this, because there's a possibility of us having been a bit misunderstood here as we are fine-tuning with you because of your leading edge beingness and questions. Non-physical wants to interact with you in so many ways, and does. And when you meet non-physical in those moments, you have those moments of recognition. We just want you to be aware that non-physical, whether it's your uncle or your father or your son or your whoever it is that is in consciousness joining you, never, ever, ever is the joining happening to support you, because there is no doubt in your ability. In other words, non-physical doesn't swoop in to save you or support you. Non-physical adores you and acknowledges your power. And when you're in those moments, that's when you have those moments. Think about what you just said. What was on the front end? Oh, you were blissing. You were on the water in a beautiful city. You had put yourself into a reclined position. You were in love with life and in love with those who were around you. You were tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You weren't yearning for anything. And then non-physical expressed consciousness in a way that you received it, not because you needed it, but because the blissful moment in time that you were experiencing and the vibrational nature of your being allowed you that connection. And feel the difference between that and that long lingering hug that you were talking about earlier.
Yes, there is a big difference in that.
Humans keep looking for support. And in your looking for support, your emphasis is upon your weakness. And when your emphasis is upon your weakness, you can't receive the support that's being offered. That's how it gets all tangled up. Esther used to argue with us, Abraham, so if I don't need money, you'll send me money, right? And if I don't need support, then you'll give me all the support I need. What kind of a parent are you? And we would say, we're the real deal. We're always there for you, but you must meet us where you belong, not ask us to meet you in your weakness.
You mean in step 4 and 5 at all times?
Well, just as often as you can. Step 3 is in that state of alignment. And step 4 is stabilizing there and doing it on purpose and understanding the difference. And this leading edge conversation that we're having, there are few people on the planet that could comprehend what you all are getting in this conversation, because so many people are thinking law of attraction, you get what you think about, and so they're just out there saying the words while they don't feel it. Their words and their music don't match. Esther says, I'm going to make an album, and it's going to be called The Words Don't Match the Music. And it's going to be this really macabre, terrible sounding music. And it's going to say, I love life. I'm so happy. And then there's going to be this really, really, really happy, happy music and words, I want to kill myself. She just thinks that that would be so good for people to get an idea that you want your words and your music to match. And so what you want to do is find your feeling and then let everything flow from that, you see. Let the way you feel be what matters. And you have that and that and that and that. You are a born uplifter. It's who you are. You radiate that. But what happens? You are a born uplifter, but when you step into your teacher mode, then as a teacher, you're often looking for the trouble that you're wanting to help someone overcome. And as soon as they make you aware of their trouble, now they have introduced resistance into your equation, and now you're not the teacher you were born to be. Now you're the supporter and the listener to their problem. And we know that's not your nature, and you don't let it stay there very long. But this conversation certainly has pointed out the mastery of that distinction, yes?
Very subtle, yes.